So yeah, the entire media is fully behind Trump, especially like we talked about liberal online media. They're all, but I said all behind Trump. I meant to say all behind Harris, but they're Harris because of Tim Walz, Mister Tim Walz.
Yeah.
He is he is like their Lord, Emperor, God, Savior, and
Just like I
they,
said before, they would have gone behind them if Josh Shapiro was their VP. It would not made a difference.
oh yeah, in fact, I think it was cenkuygur who wrote a
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
opinion piece for Newsweek talking about that before they picked Tim Walz. They talked
Yeah.
about how Josh Shapiro was actually the progressive pick, according to cenkuygur. So now it was, and even his own TYT employees ran a calling him on that bullshit.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. And Jay, well, I mean, I didn't know that they would actually pick Tim Walz. I thought they would pick Josh Shapiro, and I was trying to do trying to defend the Democratic Party no matter what. Because is it better, Steph? I hope so, because it's pretty far away now. I'm not sure how much further away I can do it. So yeah, so let me play. I should have probably saved the video, and I didn't. You know what? Let me just go to YouTube. It's easier. So bear with me 1 second while I find this, but I usually don't. I haven't played a Kyle video in a long time on this show, but I think
Oh man.
where this is this video, Kyle's gonna complain about Joe Rogan calling Tim Walz a communist. I'm not sure if you've seen this or not.
No,
Okay,
I
I'm
haven't.
glad I'm good. Yeah, he calls Tim Walz a communist, and Kyle whines about it. But I'm not gonna play the whole thing because I don't want to bore the audience. But
Yeah.
where is it? Man, he does so many videos every day. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Trying to find it. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan. He put Joe Rogan. Here it is. He compares Tim Walz to Kim Jong Un. That's what it was. This one. So he whines about this that Kim Jong Un isn't. Tim Walz isn't Kim Jong Un. He's so much better. He is so much better. So here is Mr. Kylekulinski. Let me see. I think I wrote down it's 5:34. I'm not gonna play this whole thing because let's start from here. Actually, let's play the beginning and then what Joe says, and then I'm gonna skip ahead.
That's what he does. That's what he calls. Now, by the way, the flag to be like
What the fuck? You
so.
talk too much, man.
This is correct. But this also right is they're radical socialists. That's what he does. That's what he calls.
All right, la la la. When he actually plays the clip? Oh, here it is. So he spends like nearly 2 minutes talking nonsense for no reason.
About Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. But again, the genesis of the conversation was more about Tim Walz. Listen to this.
The flag doesn't bother me that much. If the people in Minnesota like it, like who cares? It's just a star and some colors. The real problem is when you discussions of things that are like openly Marxist philosophies, when you hear talk about equal outcomes and and not just equal opportunity, but that we all need to arrive at the same place, equal outcome talk. There's only one way they can do that, and it's by forcing you.
Well, it's by everyone having nothing.
Yeah.
That's the only way to have things totally equal. Because
Exactly.
you can't have everyone have everything. That's impossible.
Right. There's no way. There's not enough resources. And so for equal distribution, that has to be enforced by law. So that has to be enforced by the government, and the government generally does not have equal. They have much more than you. And that's Fidel Castro in Cuba. That's North Korea. That's virtually every communist country that's ever existed. You have a military dictatorship that decides what you can and can't do with your time.
Sure.
And all under the guise of making it better for everyone. And that's exactly what they did to North Korea. When they took over people's farms, they said, we're going to take over the farms so that everybody has food. Yay, good. Now everyone's starving.
Right.
And the government has all the food.
He brought this up in the context of a conversation.
So he's gonna complain about how Tim Walz isn't a communist for the next few minutes. Like, who cares? So I'm just gonna start from here because he spends 2 minutes complaining about he's a communist, how Tim Walz isn't a communist, and Joe Rogan's wrong. because he's very upset because he used to be friends with Joe Rogan. As everybody, he's go on the show all the time.
Yeah.
So now I don't think he'll ever go back on the show again because Joe Rogan isn't that progressive that Kyle thought anymore, unless he's a sellout, and then he'll go on the show because he wants to get more viewers on his channel. But I digress, So this is where there's a lot of hypocrisy here and a lot of irony, which is why I wanted to play this. By the way, there's two things Kyle does not mention. All these great policies that Tim Walz has, two things that he doesn't mention. That Tim Walz is a Zionist, unrepentant Zionist, and that he's pro-Ukraine war and wants to continue funding.
And he doesn't support Medicare for all.
Nope.
Doesn't support. I don't think he supports a $15 minimum wage. Is that correct?
I don't know. I assume not, but
Yeah. And
again, I'm not 100% sure on that. So he does not mention. Listen to the rest of this video. He does not mention those three things once.
Yeah.
On how great Tim Walz is.
Tim Walz is actually about. Tim Walz with a 1-seat majority in Minnesota. 1-seat majority. He got us free school breakfast and lunch for kids in school.
No. He didn't get us.
Joe Rogan, do you support that?
Minnesota.
Us. Yeah, he acts like he lives in Minnesota. And
Yeah.
I assume he means us for like his audience. Like he got us. But most of his audience doesn't live in Minnesota, so it doesn't make any sense why he would say he got us. But he got us, guys. Let's see what he got us.
I think you do, right? I think he does. If I'm being kind, I think he does. He got us legal weed. We know Joe Rogan supports that. He did carbon-free electricity by 20.
He got us that. If you live in Minnesota, if you live in, let's say, in Texas. Unfortunately, weed is still illegal. You still get arrested there, and you still go to jail for possessing any type of marijuana in Texas. So he didn't get us anything. He got Minnesotans those things.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
2040. He did tax
carbon-free electricity by 2040. What does that mean? Does that mean it means building more nuclear power plants? So that's carbon-free. That's the only way to get carbon-free electricity by 2040. Just build a bunch of nuclear plants.
I just noticed, why the fuck would Kyle like and retweet his own tweet? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, a lot of these influencers, they like and retweet themselves. I don't do it.
No,
I mean, I think
retweet. I know people retweet their own tweets, but like he's liking his tweet. Like, what are you doing, man?
Man, he's liking it. Yeah, he got Minnesota poor people higher school taxes. That's the thing. All of these great policies, according to Kyle, they're all great. Which on paper they are. They are great. But what? Excuse me. What is that going to lead to? That's right. That's going to lead to higher taxes, higher property taxes. A lot of these things are school related, which means higher property taxes. So if you own a home in Minnesota, you can thank Tim Walz for your higher property taxes and your higher. I'm not sure Minnesota has a sales tax or not. I know here in New Jersey we have a sales tax, but I'm not sure about Minnesota. But you'll get maybe higher income tax because Tim Walz wants to do all of these great progressive policies. They want to tax and spend, but that's the disadvantage. There's going to be a lot higher taxes.
Yeah.
Rebates for the working class up to $1,300 if they make.
Wait. So not only does it's $1,300 tax rebates for working class people, and the government can afford this. That's called, what is that called? The what tax? What credit? It's called the working. I forget what the credit's called. It's basically for poor people, but the state of Minnesota definitely cannot afford this. They're not a big state. They're not like New York or New Jersey or California or Florida even. There's no way Florida ever do it, but I'm just saying. They're not a high economic state, and somehow they're going to afford $1,300. This program isn't going to last long.
Yeah.
They make under $150,000 a year. He gave us 12 weeks paid family leave, 12 weeks paid sick leave.
12 weeks is what? 4, 8, 12. That's 3 months. That is 3 months paid family leave and 3 months paid sick leave. So, but the issue with, again, I don't understand this. Or does the government pay for it, or does corporations pay for it? Because if corporations pay for it, I'm definitely fine with that, because they can afford it. If the government's paying for this 3 months, why the hell would any taxpayer agree to that? unless everybody benefits. But even it's like a lot of this is just so like none of this ain't gonna last long. When Tim Walz isn't governor anymore, a lot of this will be stripped away slowly but surely.
Yeah.
He banned gay conversion therapy because it's a scam and it
That
doesn't
isn't
work.
going to be stripped away because Democrats they hate gay conversion therapy, so that'll stay in the books. But the rest of this stuff, especially the economic stuff, will go away.
And is total bullshit. He did red flag laws for guns. That's to make it so that if somebody's posting on social media, I'm going to go shoot up my school tomorrow, you can legally take that person's guns, because it would be fucking insane to not be able to legally take that person's guns. He did universal background checks for guns. This guy hunts. This guy has guns. This guy believes in the Second Amendment, but he believes in basic regulatory functions to make sure we keep the guns out of the hands of.
So Fred Edwards says something interesting. Carbon-free electricity is impossible. Just the concrete for nuclear reactors produces CO2. I didn't know that. That's something I learned there. That's something new. So yeah, it came across as carbon-free electricity. The only thing I know about it that is carbon-free and clean is nuclear power plants. So even then, it turns out that I'm wrong on that. Property tax for education is racist as fuck. Most current nuclear reactors produce CO2, but my argument against nuke is mostly controls of expended materials. So yeah, not even nuclear energy is nothing. There's nothing this perfect, like carbon-free electricity, whatever that means.
Hands of absolute psychopaths. He did
Let me go
automatic
back.
guns. This guy believes in the Second Amendment, but he believes in basic.
Universal background checks for guns. That could be unconstitutional if it's challenged because that limits gun ownership. So, and that's unconstitutional according to the Supreme Court's current interpretation of the Second Amendment. Do I think there should be universal background checks? Yes, but unfortunately, I'm pretty sure this universal background checks are unconstitutional. But if it gets challenged in the Supreme Court, we'll see.
Basic regulatory
And then
functions
if
to make.
it's overturned, I guarantee you Kyle will complain about how they're judicial supremacists and they are the worst of the worst and need to be reformed. So
Make sure we keep the guns out of the hands of absolute psychopaths. He did automatic voter registration, free public college for people that make under 80,000. He banned the PFAS, the forever chemicals. I hear Rogan all the time bashing big pharma, for example.
PFAS. I don't know what that is, the forever chemicals, so I'm not really going to comment on that, but let's keep going.
I'm sure he realizes the chemical companies are polluters and they dump all these terrible things all over the place and make people sick. He banned the forever chemicals. He did a $2.2 billion increase in K-12 school funding. It's good to fund public schools. He did sectoral bargaining for nursing home workers, which increases the pay of nursing home workers. But I got more. He opposed the Wall Street bailouts in 2008. Rogan agreed.
Does that anything impress you? Because it doesn't impress me. Most of it is just unrealistic, and most of it is just going to go away by the time Tim Walz leaves office. Let's see. Let's keep going. Maybe some of this will impress me.
Rogan agrees with that. He voted against outsourcing deals. Rogan agrees with that.
Tim Walz, before he became governor, he was a middle-of-the-road Democrat congressman from Minnesota. So all of a sudden he becomes governor. This is the biggest progressive in the world.
Yeah.
Even though for years he spent in Minnesota being a congressman who was middle of the road. He was a Joe Biden type of Democrat.
He has a 100% rating from Planned Parenthood, which just means he supports reproductive rights. He has the pro-Roe v. Wade position that Democrats have, that Rogan also claims to have. He banned non-compete clauses, which of course are very predatory. He raised the minimum wage for small businesses, raised taxes on multinational corporations. He protected trans healthcare. He's not some radical. He's not some extremist. He just thinks trans people should be treated equally and that trans people should have rights.
Mm-hmm.
He banned medical providers from withholding care for people over debt. He protected construction workers from wage.
Is that a thing? Banning people for getting health care because of debt? Because I thought it was a federal law saying that you couldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like that, like hospitals they couldn't deny care because you owe them money. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there isn't, but maybe there wasn't, but even then, yeah, it's like I I don't know. I mean, let's see what else he has to say.
wage theft, and he did a
Protected construction workers from wage theft. Okay.
massive Minnesota infrastructure bill. And I haven't even brought up that on foreign policy, he's the guy everybody on the left and the populist right say they want. You know, the right wingers who claim to be anti-establishment? Well, guess what? This is a guy who fought for peace in Iran. He was in favor of the Iranian nuclear agreement.
He
was
brings up foreign policy here, but he doesn't bring up Israel or his Ukraine position much.
in favor of normalization with Cuba because the embargo is fucking stupid. But more importantly, he was against the Iraq war. And on two separate occasions, in 2013 and in 2016, he led the charge for us to not go to war in Syria. That's who this guy is. Everybody on the so-called anti-establishment right should be singing his praises and saying stuff like, Tim Walz stood up to the deep state and fought on the side of the people.
No, he didn't.
That's what people would be saying in a world
It's
where...
not true. By the way, he never brought up Israel and his Zionism, and he never brought up Ukraine. He brings up everything else that he did, but except those two horrible things, which is why you cannot support this ticket. Let's see. Do they know how to get around implementing 12-week paid family leave? So Snork says, if you have more than $15,000 debt to a hospital, they will stabilize you and then transfer you to another facility. Okay, so they have to stabilize you. I do know that. They can't just leave you to die. Like in a lot of other countries, you know, if you owe them money or you can't pay, just leave you to die. They have to stabilize you. I do know that, and then they transfer you. Okay, no, so yeah, okay. So I was wrong about that. I thought they had to treat you and keep you no matter what. But yeah, none of this is impressive. And he blatantly doesn't bring it up because he knows Kyle's not stupid. He's a lot of things. He's boring. He's like a dorky dad, you know, like a dorky dude, but he's not stupid. He knows that Tim Walz is Zionist, and he knows that he wants to continue the Ukraine war. But he's not bringing this up, and he won't continue. He'll continue not to bring it up.
A world where evidence mattered and empirical data mattered and somebody's record actually fucking mattered. That's what people would be saying about Tim Walz. But we live in the dumbest possible age where everybody is brain poisoned by the internet and they see some dumbass headline about Tampon Tim or whatever the fuck. And it's like, oh.
Ironically, Kyle's the one that's too online. He loves he's always tweeting every nonsensical meme and, you know, but meanwhile he says other people are too online.
Okay, radical socialist extremist wants to make everybody earn the exact same amount of money from now until the day they fucking die. None of this shit is true. None of it is true. It's all desperate, pathetic, over-the-top smears against one of the politicians in America who actually does the right thing. He didn't just say, I support all these things. He delivered on all these things, both as a congressperson, but then more importantly, as governor.
Not as a congressperson. He was a Joe Biden centrist, pretty much, as a congressperson. You want to say governor? Fine. But a lot of those policies are unrealistic or will go away because everybody's taxes are going up in Minnesota in order to fund these things. And how long that will last before voters say, fuck this, get rid of all these things because it's way too expensive and it's cost me way too much in taxes.
Governor of Minnesota. He's literally one of the best politicians in the entire country.
And there it is. There it is. He's just hero worshiping Tim Walz. There it is. And that's the number one thing that pisses me off. And we Americans constantly make fun of North Koreans and country like that where they completely worship Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-il before him and Kim Il-sung before him. Sorry, I couldn't spit it out. But meanwhile, Americans worship their politicians just as much, if not worse. I mean, look at Kyle here worshiping Tim Walz. And by proxy, Kamala Harris, because she picked Tim Walz. Look at the right wing. They hero worship Donald Trump like he's some kind of goddamn hero. So we do it too. We Americans in general do it too. Not me, but hell, to be fair, I did it too with Bernie Sanders. I hero worshipped him too. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I never done it because I did. But I snapped out of it rather quickly. So it took me. I was the biggest Bernie bro in the world. I'll admit that. I'll take that L. But I definitely need to carry that L for the rest of my life. But yeah, Kyle, he's worshiping fucking Tim Walz like he's some kind of hero, and he swears he's gonna do shit while he's president. But he's not even while he's president. He's gonna be vice president, not president. But
He actually represents the positions of the American people. The American people want free school breakfast and lunch for kids. The American people want paid family leave and paid medical leave. The American people want
100%.
higher wages for workers. This is what the American people want, and he delivered. He's a true
100%. So for champion policies, not politicians. Steph says he effing acts like he lives in Minnesota.
Exactly.
He keeps saying we.
Yeah.
He got us this. He got us that. He got that us this. He lives in New York, or does he live in Virginia now? Did he move to Crystal Ball's multi-million-dollar mansion? Because I remember he lived in New York for a long
Yeah,
time.
that might be true. Yeah.
So he might have moved to Virginia, but to be with his wife, which I'm not judging him for. I mean, please be with your wife, but yeah, don't act like you live in Minnesota, dude. When you don't.
true centrist. He's a true moderate in the sense
He's a
that he
true
represents
centrist.
the
There we
center
go.
of mainstream American opinion. And
What Kyle means, he's an international centrist. He doesn't mean that he's like a centrist in the U.S. context. He's a centrist international. Like, he called Bernie Sanders an international centrist too. So Snork says, I'm about 80 minutes from Minnesota and I can't get the cooties off of me. And Steph said, which is a great point. You skirt around the 12-week family leave by making full-timers part-timers. And I'm sure that Tim Walz didn't put in a provision that says you have to make full-time, you have to give this to part-time workers too. Sure he didn't, which is why it's a giant loophole. I know water's a big factor. I thought most scientists know that too. I've been skeptical of that CO2 argument, but it gets too complicated for me. Yeah, I don't know much about CO2 and that stuff, which is why I didn't argue when Snork said that, or whoever it was said that about about concrete being in CO2 or CO2 being in concrete.
what does he get as a thanks? Compared to Kim Jong-un, an authoritarian, tyrannical dictator who's only
All right, Joe Rogan's wrong, but here's the thing: I don't give a shit enough to defend Tim Walz.
Yeah.
I don't care to defend Tim Walz from Joe Rogan's, smearing of him. Let's say Kyle does, because he hero worships Tim Walz, just like everybody else and all his other friends for the most part worship Tim Walz.
only known for having a total fucking police state. By the way, let's remember, Rogan is saying this sort of stuff about Tim Walz. Remember, Donald Trump is the Republican nominee. Donald Trump literally came out and said on Truth Social, we need to suspend the Constitution, terminate the Constitution.
So disingenuous. That was clearly sarcasm.
Yeah.
Because Trump is a master of sarcasm. And Kyle knows this. He said it before, but it's just disingenuous.
Yeah.
So he can get back in power. Because he wanted January 6th to succeed. He wanted the fraudulent elector slates to succeed. He said,
AKA alternate electors. Politicians and presidents have done this for decades, for centuries in this country. They propose alternate, because especially if they lose, that way they can put in their own electors to vote for them to actually turns out that they won the election. This has always happened in American history, but somehow now, because Trump did it, it's evil, it's bad, and they're fake electors instead of alternate electors. It seems like they don't know their American history.
Don't forget Kyle.
he said,
admitted-
let's terminate the Constitution.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Don't forget Kyle admitted when he was talking with the Vanguard that he wished he voted for Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah, the Vanguard boys. I mean, I'm going to probably mention them real quick here in a little bit.
And all rules and regulations so I can get back in power. That's what he said. This is a guy who just praised Xi Jinping for ruling, and I quote, with an iron fist. Trump outright saying an iron fist is a good thing. This is who his opponent is. Trump wants to... Tim Walz legalize weed. Trump,
He'll be back. He'll be back, guys. It's happened before.
I didn't realize when I got cut off. I was talking, I was blabbing away, and I got cut off. So what I was saying was what I was saying is Trump. What was I saying? It was, hold on. Kyle was talking about something here. I got, what did he say? Something set me off.
I haven't said anything
Oh, yeah.
about.
He also didn't say anything about Zionist Israel, and he also didn't say anything about the Ukraine. He also didn't say, there's so many things Kyle's leaving out, and I know he's leaving it out.
One of the things, Topher, I think it's Topher. He's brought up that Walz, where is it? Say he set up a snitch line during COVID. So how?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He definitely set up a snitch line, which is another thing. He's definitely that was a chat I was talking about. He was he's a Zionist. And he's also an authoritarian, Tim Walz. And then Kyle acts like he isn't.
About his incredibly restrictive perspective on social freedoms. Tim Walz talks about freedom all the time. What did Trump do? He picked J.D. Vance, guy who said, I want to ban porn.
Except for the snitch line on COVID, which Kyle didn't mention too as well. It's another thing that we just discussed. That's not freedom. That's the opposite of freedom. It just is. You can whine about it all you want, but that's the opposite of freedom. Yeah. And also the mask mandates and also all the other stuff that liberals loved at the time. Oh, and by the way, because I'm on YouTube, make sure you get your vaccine. All your vaccines, get them all, because they're all great and they all work, according to your medical experts. And I'm scheduled next week for my appointment for my booster. Make sure you got all your boosters, too, by the way.
Yeah.
And porn. A guy who said, I want to outright ban all abortion. Their Project 2025 is a total giveaway to fucking billionaires. Screws over working people. In Project 2025, they ban stuff like overtime pay for workers. So again, I'm not sitting here. I don't want to sit here and make comparisons to authoritarian dictators or Kim Jong-un. But if you're gonna make a comparison, it way more fits on Trump than it does on Tim Walz. It's not even fucking close.
Yeah, Steph says he's also a pussy when it came to fighting in the military. Kyle likes authoritarians. Look at his wife. So, yeah, I mean, he likes left-wing authoritarianism. That's what he likes. Like Tim Walz, like the Tim Walz snitch line on COVID. He's fine with that. And the reason why I know he's lying is he did it before. He did it with Marianne Williamson. He complained about an article that Politico put out about how Marianne Williamson is a psycho. And that, she fires her staff and drives them to quit and cry and stuff. And he says a lie. She would never do that. It turns out she has a history of doing this because back in 1992, People's Magazine wrote an article about her saying the same exact thing. And Kyle hid that from his audience and lied about it. So, there's a little bit more.
So, swing and a miss to say the least, man. It's a real shame. It's a real shame because, again, Joe supported Bernie Sanders. All of the things he liked in Bernie Sanders are there in Tim Walz. The only difference is...
And he supported Tulsi Gabbard. I think he supported Tulsi more than he did Bernie. So Kyle won't believe that as well.
Yeah, he did in 2016. He said that he liked Bernie.
Yeah,
and then by 2020s, he kind of switched over to Tulsi, even though he said he still liked Bernie. So,
Tim Walz is actually better at the game of politics, better at PR and marketing and strategy.
What does that mean? Better at the game of politics? That means better at lying. That's what that means. He's better at the game of politics. Bernie was too honest, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Kyle is saying. He's too honest. He didn't have charisma. He was too honest about his policies, which is why he lost. Tim Walz wouldn't lose because he's good at lying and he has some charisma.
And giving stump speeches. Bernie would only talk about the policies, which is beautiful in one sense, but in another sense, it's like sometimes you got to have some fun. Sometimes you got to play the game. Sometimes you have to give people something that can go viral, something that's cutesy and has humor to it. And that's Tim Walz. All the good parts of Bernie's policies, plus better at politics. And what does he get
when
for
he
it?
says better at politics, again, he's mean better at lying and better at bullshitting people. That's what he means. But yeah, this is this is enough of this for now.
Well,
But
so before we move on, I just want to play. It was a video it's a video that I made from Do This One's video. They were talking about progressive falling line. I made a edit when they were talking about Kyle Kulinski. I'll share
as long as no music, it's fine.
No, there's no music.
Okay.
I'll share the screen in a second. Let me just bring up the video.
Yeah, you can share your screen.
Kyle Kulinski.
Okay, so let me just share the screen. Let's see. Okay. Did I do it? Did I do it correct? I don't know.
Just go to the tab where you want it to go.
Okay.
It should pop up.
Okay. There we go.
Or redo it again.
So let's see.
You would have to go. Let me see to go to Chrome tab or go to the tab where your browser is. It should say.
Yeah, no, I'm at the tab. I'm at the tab, but it's not showing the Restream site for whatever reason. Unless if I can just go to Window and then press Live, would that work?
Or send me the link in private chat, and then I'll play it here.
Okay. Yeah. No, I have the clip saved. It didn't want to.
Oh, it's saved. Oh, okay. So you can't do that.
It's weird. I don't know why it's not. Let me see. Let me see if I can click Window. Let me see if I can click. And
okay.
Let's see if it works. Let's see. Nope. Still not. Damn it. Okay. Let me see. This is weird.
Yeah, I'm sad that I took him seriously too. I did at one point. I swore by Kyle Kulinski at one point years ago, especially when he was supporting back when he had hair and proper hair and dressed well. Kuklinski is a real shame. Yep. Let's see. Kyle won't talk about Agenda 2030.
So what if I sent you what if I sent you my clip in one messaged you on Twitter? Would you be able to show it?
Yeah. If it's a link, I can show it. That'll work better.
Well, not a link, but just well, okay. Maybe I'll send you a clip. Maybe I'll post it and tag your name in it.
Oh yeah, that'll work. Yeah, you can post it, and I could see it on X. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Definitely make sure you.
Let me give me a second.
Thank you, Abby, for that. Yeah, make sure you give me a like, share, and subscribe. I'll be putting out some clips throughout the week because I need to do that. Actually, put out clips. I need to. Let me go on my Twitter page. Hold on. Or X page, whatever the hell it's called now.
I just call it Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I call it Twitter too.
Has to load a little bit, but
Okay, well, I'm just
it's 5.5 minute videos, so it's gonna load.
Yeah.
But for now, you can, while it's loading, you can mention
we all made mistakes in taking these fools seriously. It happens. Yeah, it does. So I'm not exactly beating myself up too much over that, but yeah, I take that L too that I took Kyle seriously.
Yeah.
Not only the Kyle did that 5-minute thing defending Tim Walz, but it gets worse. I'm not gonna play it, but I'm gonna show you. Where is it? Major campaign blow, campaign hacked.
Yeah, Kyle was probably the first one I watched for politics back in 2016.
Here we go. It's this one. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna share my screen here.
And yeah, he's just been such a disappointment.
Right here, he spends another 13 minutes debunking every Tim Walz smear crashes and burns. Like, he literally spends another.
Look at that! Minutes. Kamala dropped stunning new border ad. What the fuck?
He definitely defends Kamala Harris on that ad. I've watched a bunch of this. I haven't watched them in months, but I started watching it. I knew that I was going to cover the PMC media being completely in the tank of Kamala.
Defends Kamala Harris on the border.
He basically says
nuts?
he basically claims he basically is going to claim in that video, well, I don't agree with her policy proposals, but it is good politics because most Americans want, a stronger border. So this is the video I was talking about here. It's like every Tim Walz smear crashes and burns. And I want to focus on one thing in particular. Whoops, because he talks about, where is it? The military smear. Oh shit, my battery's dying. But yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap up in a few. So, but yeah, he says, yeah, I have enough where I can finish up, but I'm just so just send me that clip when you have it.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's halfway done.
Okay. Well, I still have a few more minutes.
Oh wait, actually, it's just about. I think it's just about finished.
Okay. There's the military, alleged military smear. Again, I got to sit back because I know that I'm cracking.
All right, I just tagged you and I sent you the clip.
Okay, no, they get rid of that because that's not that important, anyways. Let's see. Snorky says I worked very hard for Bernie. I did too. We all did here for the most part in this space. All right, let me see.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's play this, and we'll probably wrap up here. Do Dissidents. By the way, go like and subscribe to them because they're great. They're. Whoops. Let me try to actually share my screen. Again, I always don't share my screen, and then. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. Now let's play the shit. Yeah. By the way, like and subscribe to Do Dissidents. They have good stuff there.
Kulinski, August 6th, right after the Walz announcement. Let's fucking go.
Hey,
let's
you didn't
fucking
mention
go.
my queen, Marianne.
No, he didn't. Kamala objectively made the best possible pick. Look at that policy dog. We're so back. Policy record here. The universe.
Yeah, Steph says that Jimmy went live, starts blowing Trump him out. He has Alex Jones and Kid set the show. Yeah, I know Kid didn't do his live stream today, his Patreon stream and whatever, because he was going to the show.
Yeah, right. Yeah, shove a tampon up your ass. Free school meal, legal weed, carbon-free electricity, tax rebates, paid family leave, paid sick leave, banned conversion therapy, red flag laws for guns. This is the liberal wish list. Horrible, says Kyle Kulinski. Oh, just yesterday we were on board. Now you put us through this. Yep. All she had to do was say, I hear you. When I'm president, we'll have a permanent ceasefire. We're going to stop the war and bring peace. At least half of Democrats think Israel is committing a genocide. Act like it. Translation, why couldn't you just bullshit? Yep. Why couldn't you just bullshit?
That's exactly what that's the translation that Kyle always said. Why don't you do a better job of bullshitting?
That's why I can keep bullshitting my viewers.
Yep.
Right?
And as many people keep on pointing out, you're the vice president now.
Right.
Why you do it now? She's stealing, Trump's idea about the tips. I got to look into whether this is true. There's been a meme going around that she was the deciding vote on empowering the IRS to go after tips. I have to look into whether that's true. But at the very least, hey, man, you think it's such a good idea. Why don't you do it now? Why do people have to wait? Do these things now. Why don't you do a ceasefire now? And we, as we saw in our last show, literally the same day that she said they're working around the clock for a ceasefire, they committed to another $3.5 billion in aid to Israel, military aid.
Kamala's shocking after new Gaza protests. So Kyle came out and made a video reacting to this. We're going to play a little bit of this.
Well, I respect your voices, but we are here to now talk about this race in 2024.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts. First of all, let's state the obvious. That is so much better than what she did the first time.
So much.
I mean, that was
so much better, guys.
A breath of fresh air compared to her first reaction, where she basically accused the people of...
So much better. I love it. It's so much better, man. It's like so great. I get to lie to you guys some more. I get to, make more money because I support Kamala. I can now bullshit you better.
Wanting Trump to win and said, yeah, if you want Trump to win, then go ahead and keep protesting for Gaza.
Much smoother line of bullshit.
Jesus Christ, that's dark. That's such a dark reaction.
That's so mean.
So this is...
That's so mean. I'm a nice guy. I'm not a mean guy.
You just have to say it.
Right, you just have to be nice. You have to say it nicely. You can't be mean. I'm not mean. My brand is nice. Don't be mean. Be nice. You don't have to mean it, but be nice.
Let me speak to that real quick. I know you guys are concerned about this. I am too.
Yeah.
We got to get a ceasefire. We got to get a ceasefire.
Yeah.
We got to bring
Yeah.
hostages.
No. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the right reaction.
They're gonna bring
That's
a
the right
ceasefire.
reaction. The one part I didn't like is that he said, oh, me and the president have been working on this. And it's like, Joe Biden is not interested in a ceasefire.
Oh, so and neither is Kamala.
The one part I didn't like is that it's total bullshit.
She is.
The one part I didn't like about this is that she says we've been working on a ceasefire when it's clear the president is not determined to get a ceasefire. So everything was great except for the fact that she was full of shit. In fact, except for the fact that she was full of garbage, it was great. It was perfect.
Then the question remains about Kamala. When she says we need a ceasefire and we need to bring the hostages home, does she mean it in the Biden way of ceasefire? Or does she mean it in the sincere pro-Palestine protester way of ceasefire?
What?
And look, that's yet to be seen.
Okay, well, if that's yet to be seen, then
why did you support him?
Could you support her candidacy? If you don't know what she means by ceasefire, how on earth could you be shilling for her this hard because of fucking Tim Walz? It makes no sense. Moron. It makes no sense if you give...
You're such a fantastic moron. I love Norman Finkelstein. He's great. But... Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm going to finish off this clip real quick, and then we'll wrap up. But, yes, tomorrow we'll be back for Pro Wrestling Talk at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So look forward to that. We have a lot to talk about since we were out last week because Steph had a graduation party to attend.
You give a shit. What are you talking about? Yeah, we don't know what she means by that. Okay, so you don't know what you mean by that, then stop supporting her. Stop supporting. It's that simple.
He won't.
How
he
you can make a living as a so-called progressive political commentator and be wooed back into supporting Kamala Harris because Tim Walz passed free school lunch. Come on, man. That is a bunch of fucking bullshit. That's just fucking bullshit, and you know it's bullshit. I know you know. I believe these people see these images and they feel pain. I believe that's why Kyle endorsed Jill Stein to begin with. What do you think? He wanted to do that? It was too much at one point. Why is it not too much anymore? Why? You're really going to fall for this fucking Tim Walz bullshit? I mean, are you serious? Are you serious? This inspired my meme. That says it all right there.
Progressive.
Says it all right there. And that goes back to the very beginning when Greenwald says online left liberals already extracted all the value there is to get from feigning anger over Gaza. Well, it sure seems that way.
They're going to profit, man.
Exactly. Fortified their radical brand, profited for traffic. Exactly. That's it. And now they see their best grift is to go pretend that this represents a shift in policy. So they're going to the script, which, I mean, it's really disgusting.
Yep. And